Dmitry opened his eyes and immediately felt that familiar heaviness. Not in his body, but in his soul. The alarm hadn't even gone off yet, but sleep was already gone, leaving behind nothing but exhaustion. The kind of tired that makes you feel like you didn't sleep at all, but carried an invisible weight on your shoulders all night long. He reached for his phone. Notifications, messages, news that had nothing to do with his life, yet somehow stole his attention every single morning. Dmitry scrolled through the feed, not absorbing a single word, and sighed. Just another day. Work was waiting for him, as always. A monotonous, meaningless chain of tasks. Doing things just to redo them later. Answering emails that change nothing. Sitting in meetings where everyone talks, but no one listens. And then, in the evening, the couch. A TV show he wasn't even watching, just playing in the background to fill the emptiness. I need to change something, Dmitry would think every night as he fell asleep. But by morning, that thought would dissolve into the routine, like sugar in coffee. That day, he decided to walk through the park. Not out of a love for nature, just to delay going home for a little while. Autumn was painting the trees in gold and copper, but Dmitry didn't notice. He walked with his eyes glued to his phone screen until he heard a voice. "Young man, you look like you've lost something important." Dmitry looked up. Sitting on a bench was an old man, gray-haired, with deep wrinkles and surprisingly clear eyes. He was smiling, not in an intrusive way, but kindly, as if he saw more in Dmitry than Dmitry saw in himself. "Me? No, I'm fine," Dmitry replied automatically. "All is well," the old man repeated, nodding. "And yet, you carry your exhaustion like a sack of stones. Would you like me to help you set it down?" Something in those words struck a chord. Maybe because the old man wasn't offering solutions or pushing advice. He simply saw him. Dmitry stopped. "How are you going to help me?" "With 5 tasks," the old man replied calmly. "Simple but not easy. If you complete them, you'll get back what you've lost." "What exactly have I lost?" Dmitry smirked. The old man looked at him as if the answer were obvious. "Time. You've lost your time. Or rather, you've given it away to everything and everyone except yourself." Dmitry wanted to argue, but realized there was nothing to argue about. The old man was right. "All right," he said. "What's the first one?" The first task was a letter of gratitude. The old man handed him a notebook and a pen. "Write a letter to someone you haven't spoken to in a long time, or someone you hold a grudge against. Don't send it if you don't want to. Just write it. Honestly, from the heart." Dmitry took the notebook. At first, he didn't know where to start, but then he thought of his father. They hadn't spoken in 2 years. A silly argument over money that had grown thick with silence and pride. He started writing. At first, it was dry, but then it became more and more sincere, line by line. Suddenly, Dmitry felt something inside him soften. For 2 years, he had held on to this grudge, as if proving something to himself. But he had only proven one thing. He knew how to waste time on emptiness. When he finished, tears were streaming down his cheeks. He wasn't crying. He was just letting go. The old man nodded as Dmitry handed the notebook back. "The time you spent on that grudge is gone, but now you have everything else. The second task, a small thing you've been putting off. Is there something you've been meaning to do for a long time, but keep delaying?" the old man asked at their next meeting. Dmitry smirked. There were 100 such things. Pick just one, the smallest one, and do it today. Dmitry thought about the shelf in the hallway. It had been hanging crooked for 6 months. Every time he walked past, he'd promise himself to fix it, and every time, he'd forget. That evening, he grabbed his tools. 10 minutes, and the shelf was hanging straight. Dmitry stepped back, looked at it, and suddenly laughed. 10 minutes. For 6 months, he'd been carrying this tiny thing in his head as if it weighed a ton. He felt a strange sense of relief, as if he'd just reclaimed a piece of control over his own life. The third task, 1 day without complaints. "Tomorrow, from morning till night," the old man said. "Don't utter a single complaint. Not out loud, not even in your head." "That's impossible," Dmitry laughed. "Try it." The morning started with a traffic jam. Dmitry wanted to curse, but remembered the task. Instead of getting irritated, he turned on some music and just sat there. At work, a colleague messed up a project again. Normally, Dmitry would have rolled his eyes and complained to someone, but this time, he just exhaled and thought, "All right, we'll fix it." By evening, he noticed something amazing. The day had gone by easier. not because there were fewer problems, but because he hadn't wasted energy mourning them. Irritation, complaining, dissatisfaction, all of it was devouring his time, and he hadn't even noticed. The fourth task, 1 minute of silence every hour. Set a timer, the old man said. Every hour, 1 minute of silence. Don't distract yourself with anything. Just be. The first few times were agonizing. Dmitry didn't know what to do with himself. Just sit in silence? It felt like time was dragging on forever. But on the third day, something shifted. He started noticing things. How he breathed. How his heart beat. How thoughts came and went. He slowed down. And the world around him slowed down with him. Time stopped running away. It became his ally. The fifth task, giving time to others. The final task, the old man said. Give someone your time. Sincerely, without expecting anything in return. Dmitry called his mother. Not just to check a box, but just to talk. They chatted about nothing for an hour, laughed, remembered the past. When he hung up, Dmitry felt a warmth spread inside him. Then he helped a neighbor carry her groceries. He listened to a friend who had been asking to meet up for ages. Every time he gave away his time, he wasn't losing it. He was filling it with meaning. A week later, Dmitry returned to the park to thank the old man. But the bench was empty. He asked passers-by. No one had seen a gray-haired man. Dmitry sat on the bench and smiled. The old man was a teacher, but not the kind who stays forever. He had given him the tools and left, because from here on, everyone has to walk the path themselves. Dmitry pulled out the notebook the old man had left him. On the very last page, it was written, "Time is neither an enemy nor a resource. It is a canvas. You are the artist. What will you paint? Asterisk." Dmitry closed the notebook and looked up at the sky. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't in a rush. He was simply here, now, in this very moment, and that was enough. He was no longer losing time. He was creating it. Time doesn't need to be saved, it needs to be lived. And if you're listening to this story right now, maybe this is your moment to stop, too. If this story resonated with you, support it with a like, subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments which task you would start doing today. Take care of your time, take care of yourself, and may every day be not just spent, but truly lived.